Could I have a motion to open the meeting, please?
So moved. So moved.
Yeah, we have to do roll call because we're on there. Vicky,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
and I say yes as well. All right, the meeting is open. I'm gonna go to the legal notice,
Right.
and I'm just going to read it because I don't know who the clerk is anymore.
That's good.
In accordance
I'm the
with-
clerk now.
Oh, you are? Are you ready?
I can read it, yes.
Oh, good.
Okay,
Thank
great.
you.
All
All
right,
right.
here we go. All right. In accordance with MGL Chapter 40A and the Townsend zoning bylaws, Section 145-36, 145-65, and 145-66, the Townsend Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, December 6th, 2023 at 7:10 p.m. to hear a renewal of a special permit for an accessory apartment at 168 Lunenburg Road, Assessors Map 8-39-0 by Edward Coffin. The meeting will be held electronically.
Perfect. All right. So our public hearing is open. Do I have to introduce anyone else? So I see Diane Coffin is here with Edward as well, the applicants, correct?
Yes.
Awesome. So why don't we just go right to the applicants and present your proposal? One of my questions, so just to let everybody know, this is a renewal of an accessory apartment that's been granted before. One of my big questions is going to be, are there any changes? So with that, I'll give it to the applicant. You present your case, please.
No changes. My parents are still living there. Simple as that.
Excellent, excellent. Bill, do you want to, is there anything you want us to review if everything's the same? I've looked over the application. No measurements have changed.
I haven't looked at the previous permit. I mean, have you looked at the previous permit?
Yeah, I can bring that up. Hang on, switching windows here. Lumber decision. So that will notice of decision. To appeal, blah, blah, blah. Petition. How about if I'll just read it and then we can see if there's anything different. And then we could probably do, like typically what we do is we ask for a motion to approve based on that previous decision.
This is the 168 Lunenburg Road, right?
Correct. The date of decision was August 15th, 2018. Edward Coffin and Diane Coffin petitioned the Zoning Board of Appeals for a special permit under Townsend zoning bylaw 145-36 and 145-65 to construct an accessory apartment at 168 Lunenburg Road. The petition was filed with the Office of Town Clerk on July 18th, 2018. We had a public hearing on August 15th. The hearing was scheduled, subsequently closed that evening. Zoning board members present were Craig Stevens, Darlene Sedano, Robert Rebholz, and Victoria Janicki. The applicants, Edward Coffin and Diane Coffin, were present. There was an abutter present in support of the applicants. There was an email received in support of the applicants. The board considered the application in light of the statutory criteria and bylaw requirements found as follows. Let me read this, and then I'll see if there's an abutter here that has anything to add. All right, findings of fact. A, all the mandatory referrals were received and read into the record. B, a family member of the principal residence will reside in the accessory apartment. C.
All right, so is this the one where
Yeah. Say it again, Bill. You're in and out. I'm going to keep reading.
We
Pursuant to
don't
the
have in this doesn't see the applicant what?
Bill, you're in and out.
Bill.
Turn your video off.
Turn my video on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Be careful. We have to end up doing live ones again, in-person meetings.
He's still there, Bill. Oh,
So, C is pursuant to the Townsend zoning bylaw 14536, which is the accessory apartment section. The board found the following. The proposed floor area of the accessory apartment is 32% of the floor area of the principal residence and the apartment combined, which is below the 35% maximum allowance for an accessory apartment. So there have been no changes to that, correct?
no,
Great. The applicant, number 2, has approval from the Board of Health to install a new sewage disposal system to accommodate the accessory apartment. I know that was done. We'll go over the mandatory referrals real quick because they are all in there for this renewal.
Mhm.
Adequate for ingress and egress. 11 acres. You kind of go, there's nothing changed there. I really don't need to read all that. The actual special permit criteria, we found that the lot is adequate in terms of size for the proposed use. The lot is zoned residential and the accessory apartment is a residential use. There is no impact on traffic flow or safety. There is no impact on neighborhood visual character, including views and vistas. The method of proposed sewage disposal system installation, source of water and drainage are adequate. Utilities and other public services are adequate. And lastly, there is no discernible impact on ground and surface water quality and other environmental and natural resource considerations. Those are like the criteria. We would need to go to the mandatory referrals for this particular one. And, oh, hang on. Mandatory referral. Okay, here they are. The planning board for years going quickly. I separated the 5 years ago. Planning board member, I support. Okay, the planning board had nothing negative or any problems. The Board of Health accessory apartment was previously approved, and there are no something.
No issues.
Thank you.
From
From
a
a
board of a BOH
BOH
perspective.
perspective to continue this case. Okay. Conservation, no comment. Board of Selectmen, the select board trusts the ZBA. Well, that's good to make the proper decision. Oh, that's great. And that's what we received. So there is nothing with the, nothing to address from the mandatory referrals. I would go next to, do we have any abutters present that have anything to add? Len, are you in a butter? Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So there's no members from the public that have anything to say or add or whatever.
So I do have one question. There was an approved change to accessory apartments. I don't know if that is something we need to apply here or not, or if it just follows because we're just renewing. So
What
there
is
was a
that?
the square footage has been specified as a max of, I think it was 900 square feet.
I think it's 800.
800 square feet is the max
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
800.
So, but since it's a renewal, does that apply here
Mhm.
or not?
It should
Good-
not.
Good question.
No, I don't
John?
believe it does.
Okay,
You're,
thank you.
you're one lone
You
lawyer on
can't
the
ask
board.
somebody to reduce the size of their
I understand.
accessory apartment, 5 years later.
They're grandfathered in. There's no. Your
But,
one that's
well-
on your board says no. You
For the
can't.
record, though, what is the area of,
Well, you read it. It said it was.
well,
30.
32%.
Correct.
It's 32%, but we don't know what the
Numbers in
area is.
Yeah,
Do we
there weren't
need to?
numbers in there. No, we did the calculations, but we didn't put the numbers in the decision. That was my first one, I think.
The accessory apartments are around 1,000 square feet.
The
I-
accessory
I-
apartment is 1,000 square feet. Is that,
Mhm.
It's around 1,000. Out of the 3,200, it's around 1,000 square feet.
okay.
I think what we have to do is because of the change in the bylaw, we have to just note that
Mhm.
there's no way that we can reduce the size of the accessory apartment, at this time.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree.
Okay, so if we could add that into the findings of fact, Beth?
Okay, yeah.
We need to make some repairs on that bylaw anyway, and so I think I'm gonna put some explicit thing in the changes that would, basically support our renewing permits that were issued under the old bylaw. Otherwise, I don't know how to deal with it. But I mean, we already have the issue where the new bylaw wants to have the Board of Health changes completed before we can grant the permit. So we've been ignoring that particular obligation as well. So
All right, are there any questions or comments from board members?
I move that we renew the special permit as previously approved and is up for renewal.
incorporate the reference.
Yeah, can you referencing the previous decision date?
Yeah, I pull the date off.
Okay.
Darlene, can I just add in, potentially adding in that sunset clause upon transfer of property?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. So you can go ahead and add that into your motion.
Say that again. What's the wording on that?
Well, I do have an old motion here. Board member move pursuant to the findings of fact to grant an accessory apartment special permit by incorporating by reference a previously issued decision on said property dated August 15, 2018, with the exception that this special permit shall expire upon the transfer of the property. I put it
Right.
on the public hearing sheet if you want to reference it.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Okay, so you like that, but you got to make it.
I just did.
Okay.
Okay, so-
I move what Beth just said.
So you amended your motion? Thank you. Thank you, John. Is there a second?
Second,
Is there any further discussion on that? All right, then we'll do a roll call vote. Vicky,
yes.
John,
Yes.
Bill,
I'll vote yes.
and I'll vote yes as well. So the motion carries to grant the special permit for this accessory apartment. Do we also want to make a motion to allow one member of the board to sign the decision? And would that person like to be Bill Cadigan, maybe?
Sure.
Well,
Yeah,
I can do that. I live right in the center of town anyway. So.
All right, well, somebody make a motion for someone to sign this, please.
I move that we have John Page sign this decision for the entire board.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor, well, okay, roll call vote to allow that. Vicky,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
yes, for me as well, Darlene Sedano.
Thank you.
Did I cover all the bases, Beth?
Yes, thank you. Well done.
Beth, just give me a call when that's ready. I
Okay.
have to run to another meeting. We don't have any other votes tonight, correct?
Correct.
So,
Thank you.
So the only other thing is, we have 14 days to file this decision, and you'll get a copy in the mail when it's filed with the town clerk's stamp. And you need to record the decision at the Registry of Deeds.
Right.
Um,
Do you remember
please-
doing that before?
Please don't forget that.
Yeah, that's important. Have that recorded. You could probably reach out. Well, you know what? There's online recording now, right? You can reach out
Yep.
to an attorney. And
Oh, you have to go through an agent. You can't do it as an individual.
So, well,
But I mean-
congratulations.
Thank
and
you.
Thank you.
have a
I
great
got one.
evening. All right, Bill, all yours.
Okay, thanks.
We're free to
I gotta
go.
run, guys.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you later.
Well, what's our next item, Beth?
And at 7:30, you have an appointment with Dr. Sally Thurber, owner of 22 Main Street, regarding the project modification. I don't know if she's on. Someone's connecting. Ah, Sally's connecting. Excellent.
Beth, what is the action that needs to be taken with that?
Eric Slagle will, the town administrator, will update the board as to any action, but he's here tonight and he's ready to help us kind of understand what's going on, as is Sally. So
Terrific, thank you.
let Eric take it away as soon as Sally gets on. Connecting.
I'll tell you, I think it's the internet. It's been kind of weird all day, on and off, like just slow.
Yeah, it's been cold out too.
Eric, I haven't heard from you. Are you able to? Oh yeah, you're there. Okay, great.
Yeah, I'm here. I was just waiting to see if Sally's
Thank
audio
you.
is connected.
Thanks.
Yeah, Sally's audio hasn't connected yet.
I didn't time myself. Was that within 7 minutes?
It looks like Sally's here on the phone. So if it's okay with the board, I'll go ahead and talk real quick.
Sure.
Go ahead.
So this is a matter that Dr. Thurber has requested with staff come in front of the zoning board. At this time, there is not a formal application in front of the board. I think Dr. Thurber is just looking for the board's feelings on a particular issue. The issue is if anybody's driven past 22 Main Street over the last couple of weeks, there is a partially constructed vestibule on the front of the building. Unfortunately, that vestibule is within the setback. And there has not been a variance granted by the ZBA for that vestibule. So the acting building commissioner did an inspection, notified the property owner and the individual who constructed the vestibule that it was not zoning compliant, and that they needed to take it down. They obviously have the right to appeal that determination to the ZBA, or in the alternative to request the zoning board for a variance. So, those formal applications have not been filed, but my understanding is that Dr. Thurber would like to talk to the board about that to see if it would make sense for her to file those applications. I think most of the board probably remembers there's already been a variance granted for this property for the construction of a handicap parking spot in the setback. So that variance already existed, but at that time, there was no request for this vestibule to go into the setback. So I would, turn it over to Dr. Thurber and see what her, how she wanted to proceed with it. I know she came in and talked to land use department staff, and I think the answer was, let's see how the board feels about it, and that can drive her determination as to whether or not she simply needs to take it down, or if the board thinks it makes sense for her to go ahead and file for that variance application.
Yes,
So,
that all depends on why is the change, why does the change vary from the original plans and what's the purpose of it?
So that I would turn that over to Dr. Thurber and let her speak on her request now. But I did want to. The only reason I came in was just to kind of give you background from the town's perspective of what the town staff has done up to this point. So there was a verbal order from the building commissioner to have it taken down, and that's what drove Dr. Thurber to come before the board to see whether or not a variance would make sense.
Right.
So I do apologize. I do have another commitment, but I did want to come on and give that sort of background to the board. But I am not going to be able to stay on for the full discussion, unfortunately.
That's all right. I really appreciate your coming, Eric.
All right. Thanks, Bill. So I would just leave it up to Dr. Thurber and her team if there's anybody else here to speak for her as well.
Sounds good.
I'm looking at this picture and I can't tell how deep this vestibule is. You know, is it like 6 foot, 8 foot?
There are no plans filed at this time,
Right.
so you would
But
have to ask the
It
applicant.
exists. Somebody must know how deep
Yeah,
it
could
is.
we turn it over to the person who has all the answers?
Sally, you want
Everyone's
to
on
unmute
mute, so if
yourself?
anyone's talking, we can't hear you. I see a Sally that's muted.
Good grief, do we do? Dog is choking in the background here.
I know, mine's pitter-pattering around looking for attention.
You're kidding.
Well, my husband was supposed to be home, but he went out on an emergency service call and I ran in last minute, so. I wonder if Sally's having connection issues. Does anyone know?
I have no idea.
And Vicky, Sally can hear us. Oh, good idea, Vicky. The chat. I never think of doing that.
Yeah, I live in Zoom, so.
Yeah.
It's a handy feature.
There's
Oh,
also a
yeah.
note from Dave saying the iPhone can be muted, unmuted by pressing *6. If that
I
helps
never
any.
knew that.
Well, what I've heard about this is that it makes it more secure to get your animals in and out of the vet's office to have this vestibule. So
Something to do with that handicap would be a good, good. That would make it really easy. Variance is very difficult. They're not like, oh, it sounds good. Sure.
well, it would have been nice to have been able to do this at the same time as the other one, but
Hmm. Yeah, so
Oh, Sally.
the purpose, like, was it?
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Can you hear
I
me?
hear some- yes.
Hey.
Okay, I'm on my phone because I don't have sound with the computer. So it was my original intention when I bought it, just looking at the floor plan and the amount of space that I would have in the reception area, that I needed something else to act as an airlock and a safety mechanism so that cats and dogs are not running out into the state highway. They don't really want to sit there and see other cats and dogs that are giving them dirty looks. So I did mention it to a number of different people, and I didn't get any response saying you have to get a separate building permit. In fact, when Eric Chartrand came in here about 2 days after I bought the place, he wanted to know what I planned to do, and I did mention that. I remember it, and he didn't say anything then. So I figured it's just a kind of an entryway, and that it didn't need a separate permit. So we went ahead and built it, and then the carpenter thought he would better get a building permit. He knows more about this than I do, and that's when we ran into this problem. So I'm hoping that the planning board and the zoning board will see that we're improving the look of this property and improving safety and everything. I mean, it doesn't really extend out any more than about 8 feet from the side of the house. And I think it is a big improvement over what is there now, as far as looks go.
Okay.
So
Well-
is it 8 feet toward the road or on the side?
That's the depth that I was asking about. So it's an 8-foot deep structure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
the actual vestibule is 10 by 12. So it's 12 feet wide because that is the indentation in the original building here. And then it's indented 2 feet. So if you measure from the indented part of the building, you measure out 10 feet. But the side of the rest of the building, it extends out 8 feet.
Okay.
And it still leaves room for the handicap ramp to be in the same place that it is on the site plan.
Okay.
So on the site plan that Dillis made, he has like a anyway, you know what I mean. You have to walk up and then turn and walk up some more. Well,
The switchback, we call that in the hiking business.
switchback, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And you know what I mean. So it doesn't do that. The handicap ramp goes along the side of the building and then up and in. So the handicap ramp is in the same place as it is on the site plan.
Yeah. What's the encroachment then into the setback, into the front yard setback, if it's only 8 feet off the building? Does anybody know?
So if you look at the plan that I left off at the your office, Beth.
Oh, I can screen share
I don't
that.
know where.
Oh, that would be great.
Okay, let me, David, if you could,
What's our current setback in the commercial zone now?
30 feet,
30, 35, 30?
30, yeah.
I mean, doesn't that seem like a lot? I don't understand.
I don't have screen sharing capability, so I don't know why.
Try it again, Beth.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Um,
Oh, okay.
so using my measurements, I came up with I don't know where. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So if you measure from my property line, I think that's my property line, to the side of the vestibule, it's 54 feet. And if you measure from my property line to the side of the house that is the way it is now, it's 60 feet. But I'm not sure where you start measuring from.
Yeah, that's the edge of pavement right there. That's not your property
Yeah, so do
boundary.
you
Your
start
property
measuring?
boundary. Yeah.
I think probably the property line is that one that has the 112.0.
Yeah.
Correct.
next to it.
Okay, that's where you measure from. So I can tell you how many feet. I just have to find my.
Because there was a 9-foot encroachment for
I
the
mean,
parking.
I can see where the handicap spot would encroach on the setback, but I don't see this encroaching on the setback. Did the building inspector make a measurement when he was there?
Yeah, because it doesn't look like it is.
So I'm measuring right now using the site plan, and it's from my property line, which you said was my property line. It is 60 feet to where the vestibule starts.
Well, I don't see the issue then.
No, 40.
Yeah,
I'm
no, I
sorry,
don't either.
40 feet. I'm sorry.
Okay,
40
so no,
feet.
that's out.
40
Yeah.
feet. Okay. And what's the depth of the vestibule? Did we say 8 feet?
Well, no, that's to the.
It is.
that's to the,
Yes.
That's to the
Exactly
closest
8 feet.
point to the road, Darlene. So this is not in the setback as far as
No.
I.
So if the setback's 30, you've got another
So,
couple
and
of
you've got
feet.
40. So
Yeah.
what's the problemo?
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to be even an issue for a variance.
No.
Okay. All right.
Well,
So she just needs to
I
go
think,
with the
you know,
building.
what you need to do is get a just get a building permit for that structure,
Yeah.
and
Awesome.
you should be good to go.
Mhm.
Whew.
Oh, what a relief. Hey,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
You're telling us.
I know. Yeah. Woo.
Oh, you guys are the best. All right.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's
I would just double check those numbers based on what you've shown us.
Mhm.
You know, if the setback's
be down.
30,
I'll be
and
down
you're-
there on Friday, and I'll bring my tape measure. So.
Aw,
All
that's
right.
nice of
We'll
you.
be here.
Cool.
Okay.
Awesome.
I'll bring a doobie-doo in at 9.
But does
9:20.
that
Oh, hi.
I have a question. Does that technically need any kind of, because what was approved in the plans were approved, built according to plan, and now they've been altered. Does that need any kind of, does it have to run by all the boards that approved it according to plan?
Oh, please.
Well,
I don't think so.
All the plan just didn't say anything very specific. I can show you the plan, and
Yeah,
I
I've
think I
got it.
gave a copy to Beth. It
I've
just
got
said,
it, yeah.
don't take down any load-bearing walls, which were not.
I suppose if the new plan that's approved by the building inspector as a matter of right, as long as it's in the file, it would still
Yeah.
be built according to plan, right?
Right. That's right.
Okay,
So
Sounds
this is
good.
the plan here.
so I would just make sure that plan is in the file with all the boards.
Oh, yeah.
This
Well,
is
it
the
will be
one.
if there's a building permit plan in the file.
So 46 feet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's
Oh,
what was
yeah.
approved. Yeah.
Okay,
And the
cool.
parking spot. Yeah.
Okay, Beth, anything
All
else?
set?
Any shoes to tie?
Other than 22 Main, yeah, we have Jessica Consalvo here, land use coordinator, is going to talk to you about the FEMA flood hazard mitigation mapping.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So we're still issuing building permits in the floodplain, is that right, Jessica?
I don't know. Buyer beware on that one. What I would recommend before we move on, though, is just so everyone's on the same page for this moving forward. Maybe me and or Beth can just draft sort of like a memo of understanding of what was just discussed, and the numbers that were shown and everything, so that we, on behalf of the ZBA, can issue just like, something in writing that everyone's on the same page and under the same understanding for this change of structure, if that seems amenable to you guys.
Yep, sounds good.
Ready.
All right. And then if you're ready for me, I can move on and then Sally can pop off if she's done.
No, go ahead.
All right.
Okay.
Dave. Yep. Sally, you're okay. Thank you for joining.
I'm done. Oh, thank you so much.
And then Dave, can I please have screen sharing?
Go ahead, Jess.
Thank you. All right. My cat is right next to me, so I'm apologizing in advance if we just see like a tail wandering through. Which is
I turned
probably
the
going to
video
happen.
off so you don't have to leave the dog.
Lots of animals tonight. All right. So let me do this. Okay. So I assume you guys can see my screen, lots of lines and colors and things. So a few months ago, the town, I think most municipalities in Massachusetts were notified by FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, that the maps for regulatory floodways, also known as the 100-year floodway, were proposed to change. So the last time these maps were reviewed and formally changed was in 2010. Obviously, there's been an increase in precipitation and storm events and flooding and all sorts of things like that. So FEMA over the last few years has been doing studies for mapping new limits of floodplains and floodways. So most recently, Townsend was notified that the flood maps that cover the town of Townsend were proposed to change. So not every single boundary of every single floodplain is changing, but certain areas of certain floodways were proposed to change. These are probably going to go into effect in 2024 or 2025, from my understanding. And I should stop myself right there and just note, I am not a subject matter expert in this at all. I'm just relaying on what I understand this to be. So FEMA has recently issued a pretty cool GIS database mapper, which I have up on my screen right now, which shows the existing 2010 approved floodway limits, and then also layered on are the proposed floodway limits and changes. So for discussion purposes, the blue and the red and blue are the current existing 2010 approved limits of the regulated 100-year floodway. So that, might require some various building finagling or different permitting, Conservation Commission review. It would also include flood insurance, flood hazard insurance, if your home is in or if some structure that you own is in the floodplain. FEMA layered on these yellow areas and then these additional purple areas. So the yellow means it is a proposed increase in the extent of the floodway line. The purple means it is a proposed decrease in the existing floodplain limits. So I lost myself. If you can see my map under this red word panel here, that is Town Hall for your reference. So I just sort of just wanted to show this map a little bit. oops, I don't think it likes to be zoomed out.
What's the yellow with the black square lines?
That's a really good question.
Because I'm
Let-
showing over my house and all kinds are around it, and I'm like, really?
Uh-oh, okay.
Man,
Well,
you
yeah, I
don't-
mean, I don't want
You
you
don't
guys
even
to, like,
get puddles.
shout out your addresses on a public meeting, but let's see. The yellow coastal, that doesn't make any sense. Non-special flood hazard area increase. Beats me. If anybody knows what that means, speak up. But
Well, that's just mean it's a
non-special.
it's not a specific reason, but it's an increase in the flood hazard area.
Yeah, I don't know if there's like for our discussion purposes. Yeah, I don't really know what the differences of these are, but FEMA at least relayed on to us that the yellow is the increase in the regulatory floodway, a purple is a decrease in the regulatory floodway. Those designations, I think, are typically based on different, like an analysis of different elevation points.
Well,
So
yeah,
obviously, over time, the elevation that might flood during a really heavy precipitation event, it would change, right? So like as we're getting more water, your rivers are going to raise higher during floods, so more areas would then eventually be included
But
in your
if you
elevation.
look at the purple at the bottom, like it's kind of like in the middle of the screen at the bottom, purple's a decrease, but yet the yellow with the red, with the black lines could be a decrease.
Like
I
this
almost wanna
one
say
right here.
People might not know what they're talking about in Townsend.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a mess. I know. And it's,
That's like, this area closest to the water is decreased, but 100 feet away is an increase. Come on.
I know. And like,
Oh,
so
The problem with FEMA is that they're not really very accurate, and
No.
trying to get it changed is a federal case. So,
yeah.
but, I would think that what we might want to do is warn anybody whose house is sitting in one of these expanded areas. Although I don't see a lot of houses, but maybe the overlay is not
So this, I don't know, because there's so much stuff on this map. I don't know how much it's going to stay as I zoom out. But
yeah.
here, you have the Squanicook here, which is the main, the red and the blue, if you can follow that.
Yeah.
Let's see, over by what's that called? We were just talking about it. Oh my gosh, that 40B.
It's all in my backyard. That's ridiculous.
Uh-oh.
You're talking about Coppersmith Way?
Thank you. Yeah, where is that?
That's an area. Yeah.
Is it off Highland? Is this it through here? These maps aren't great.
Yeah, I think that's Highland.
Anyway, I'm just I'm just trying to show areas where we all know, but I clearly can't even get there.
Yeah, there's a lot of wetlands in that 40B.
So that's the cemetery. It's further down, isn't it?
Yeah.
Here it is.
There it is, yeah.
There's the cemetery.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yep. So this
Well,
is this is Coppersmith, right? And Lois Lane,
Purple is a
Penny Lane, or
reduction.
whatever. So
And the purple's a decrease. No.
purple is a decrease. This might have been a weird spot. I don't know. Sorry, guys, but it's good. It is good. Exactly. And Bill just nailed it there by saying it's really good and important for property owners to review these proposed flood panel maps to see if, you might be in for a surprise where you would need to get flood insurance. And obviously, I'm not like a home insurance person, but I don't know if like these insurance companies are like waiting anxiously
Yeah, I think
to be able to
FEMA's
reach
in on
out
the
to people.
Oh, well, the only flood insurance company is the federal government anyway. So
That's right.
But
nobody else is silly enough to write flood
There
insurance.
is no private flood insurance.
yeah, so I know like when refinancing, that will sort of catch it or trigger it if needed. One place I did want to show, I don't know how many people, I'm really sorry. I know everyone gets like vertigo when I do this. Trying to find it. There we go. There are the soccer fields, the Tesa soccer fields behind Horseshoe Drive and off Mason Road.
Yeah.
So that's like an old sand pit, right? So this, oh my gosh, sorry, this is so slow, right? So down here you have the headwaters of the Squannacook River. This wooded strip right here is like a 30-foot, like almost vertical drop down to the Squannacook River.
Right.
And then on the other side of it, down toward the soccer fields, is another like 20-foot drop.
Yep.
So like FEMA's proposing that all the soccer field area is in a floodplain, but it would just take some ridiculous rain event for like the banks of the rivers down here to crest high enough to spill over onto the soccer fields. So a lot of it's just probably won't ever happen, but
Is there any way to push back on FEMA and go, we don't agree with you?
there is, so something like this is an example how earlier, even though I don't super know what I was talking about, how they base these proposed flood plains off of elevation, right? Because this like wooded crest here is a lot higher than either side where it's yellow or down by the river valley. So based on the elevation from a map, this area would, theoretically flood, but it's very unlikely that the water would get high enough to spill over that wooded crest there. FEMA did have an appeal period that was 90 days, and it just ended at the end of November. But in order to appeal, you had to provide like a very technical evidence and probably hire an engineer and show. And I mean, this would be a pretty good case, but it's not like there's any houses right here. But for the engineer to say like, hey, look at this giant crest here, it would take like a 40-foot storm to spill over the top and actually flood the soccer fields. So
It's like they conveniently went around the lot lines of that whole subdivision.
I know, right? So that's just an example of what's proposed. But what I can do is I'll send this. Oh, and what was annoying too is FEMA just published this like overlapping, very easy to follow, easy compared to the other resources they initially published. They just sent us this like in early November, maybe mid-November, like just a few weeks before the appeal period ended. So before that, you had to download PDF maps of the existing floodplains, and then download PDF maps of the proposed floodplains, and then literally just compare them side by side. And it was very, very, very difficult. So at least we have this commodity now. Just because the appeal period is closed does not mean FEMA will like never take appeals ever again. But anyway, I will share this map link with Beth, and then she can just forward it on to you guys, so you can just mosey around it at your leisure. Check out your houses, things like that, any other property you might own in town that has the potential to be vulnerable to flooding.
I guess I have to be 100 before I can prove it to them.
Well, at least the turtles will be happy about that remapping over the.
Probably they'll have less steep slope to climb. They can just ride the wave. So
Keep those bad guys away from our turtle habitat.
But so anyway, so yeah, we're here as a resource. Again, I'm not a floodplain expert. I can help you with your wetland questions though. But yeah, feel free to stop in with any questions, of course, and refer any residents or other members of the public, and we'll be happy to help them as we can.
Cool. Thank you.
All right, cool.
Thank
All right.
you.
I'm going to hop off, but thanks for having me, guys, and have a good night.
You too. All right. Cool.
Check. What else?
We have approved minutes potentially. I don't know if we can do that.
Oh, yeah, there are 3 of us. I wasn't at that meeting though.
Okay. We can do that in January if you want. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, are people champing at the bit for those minutes or?
Nope, you can do that in January. That's fine.
Okay. Great.
Other than that, I've got an administrative report I can get through pretty quickly. And the, do you want me to do that? The administrative report?
Sure.
Okay. All right, we'll do that real quick. So building permit, interdepartmental approvals. 320 Townsend Hill Road, a solar installation was approved or signed off for the building department. Also, the 2024 alcohol license renewal was signed off for the select board on their request. New applications, 355 Main, 99 Clement Road, and 23 Shirley Road are all applications for renewal of accessory apartments. All public hearings for these will be held on Tuesday, January 16th, 2024, remotely. Similar to what you just did, so it'll be the same process, this time with 3. So
Can I interrupt you on that and just say,
sure.
if they're renewals, they were obviously under the previous bylaw and not the current. So maybe we can, ask what their square footage is of the even though they do the, the percentage passes, we should make note of what their current square footage is.
Right, yeah,
Okay.
I'd like to get that into this new permit we just did too, if
Okay.
if we have the data.
We do have the data, so I can add
Okay.
that. All right. So those 3 are going to be on January 16th. And other compliance, we already dealt with 22 Main Street, 3 Wheeler Road. The board is still waiting on the owner to file an application for renewal of the expired earth excavation permit that expired on October 7th. Of 2023. So, and I am continuing to work through the older expired special permits and issuing renewal letters as I find them. So we're going through the files.
Great.
So, yeah. Miscellaneous stuff. The land use staff are working on an expression of interest in preparation for filing a municipal vulnerability preparedness action grant. That's something we've got going. There's a new hire in the land use office. Now we are welcoming Autumn Buck as the new conservation agent. The board still is looking to for 1 full member and 2 associate members. The positions are posted, and I have reached out to the liaison, Chaz Sexton Duranian, to make this announcement during Board of Selectmen meetings, so we can.
He should
fill that.
definitely provide one because he's responsible for us losing one. So
Okay, so
keep me away from that guy because I'm going to tell him what I think of him the next time I see him.
What
okay,
did you
so
do? Or you can't share?
no, this
No,
is
he
that's
did
another issue.
this
But anyway,
no, it's our issue. It's this hussy thing, and
oh,
supposedly the planning board granted waivers from the subdivision control law for these people, but there's no application for subdivision yet. So I don't understand how you could grant waivers for something that there's no application for. But I hear Lori Schifrin didn't participate in that because she disagreed with it too. But anyway, I can't believe that the town has to suffer this kind of
so the case.
as Biden would say.
So the case is in litigation.
No, it's not. Our case is dead because.
Well, the reason I bring that up is that it's really not open for public discussion if the case is still pending, and it is as far as I know. So
it's
just
not.
Okay.
I was told the case is dead. So.
Okay. Cool. I didn't get that notice yet. Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I didn't either.
Okay.
I'm
Anyway.
just not going to ask questions, but I'm curious.
So again, I announced the CPTC training. The fall workshops are still going on up until January 16th. And wrapping up with the shuttle bus service. It's running from Town Hall. So please spread the word. The website has the schedule. Okay.
As we get to the train, then
What?
you know.
What sort of use is it getting?
I haven't gotten an update. I've been asking. So I don't think it's heavy. I think
News
it's
is not good news, I'm sure. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it does, connect to Fitchburg Intermodal, and it's running every day except for Sunday. So if we, can hopefully get some usage. And please take time to fill out the MBTA Communities zoning public survey. That's open. It's probably only going to be open for another week. We haven't gotten a lot of responses yet, so we're really trying to hope to get some input
What are
on that.
what are they asking for?
Well, the 3 districts have been proposed at special town meeting, and we're just asking for folks to review those districts and choose one that they think might be better than others, or rank them, and just basically any input on the work that's been done so far. The draft bylaw is available, and any comments on that draft bylaw or on the the zoning districts that have been proposed would be really helpful. So
And
the
that's
survey
on the
link,
town-
yeah.
Town website, we can get to that?
Yeah, it's right on the main page,
Okay.
the MBTA community zoning public survey. And it's
Okay.
on my signature too. When I send you emails, you can find it.
I seem to remember seeing something like that.
Yes, we're trying. And Dave's going to post it for us on the public channel. So that's that.
Great.
Thank you.
The motion to adjourn,
Move to adjourn.
Second,
polling the members, Vicky,
yes.
Darlene,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes. We're adjourned.